Okay. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask Tara Heffernan to please lead us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, this is our last Board of Education meeting for the school year. I want to thank our two liaisons for being with us for the year. One of you is going to leave us, going on to college. It's terrific. We've had a super run this year. And a lot of things are going on all at once, so I didn't prepare, didn't prepare anything. So it's, I just want to wish all of you, to the staff, to the admin, to everybody, a wonderful summer. Those of you who take a vacation, I know hope you have a great time on your vacations. I know you worked through the summer too, so and all you teachers who have the summer off, just have a wonderful, just relax. Prepare for next year. Bill's at his busiest during the summer, preparing for the onslaught of next year's incoming. So anyway, have a great summer, no matter what you choose to do, and stay safe. And you do this next year. Congratulations. I know it's a major moment for all the seniors waiting for this Friday. It's a monumental moment in your life that you'll never forget. I still remember mine, and that was a long time ago. So anyway, I'll turn the meeting over to citizens' comments at this point. If you have any citizens' comments from the audience? None? Any citizens' comments from our Zoom? Hearing none, we'll move on to our liaison reports.
There is no student spotlight for the month of June in preparation for graduation. Then for our, I don't know, what did the education report? On June 4th was our athletic awards night. On June 5th was our scholarship and awards night. On June 6th was our music awards night. And on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, there will be graduation rehearsal. And finally, on June 14th, our TMHS senior class of 2024 is graduating at 6 p.m.
Okay, well, we have some certificates for you for being such diligent liaisons. First and foremost, there's one for Miss Tara Heffernan here. Thank you so much.
That was fine.
And Megan Natchenthal.
Kathleen, would you take a picture with the two girls? Thank you. I don't know where you want to go, probably that way. No, I don't think you would. No. Thank you.
All right, moving on. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our last regular meeting on May 13th, 2004.
I'll make the motion, Kathleen.
Okay,
I will second.
thank you, Justin. Any comments on the minutes? Oh, hearing none, I'll put the motion to the floor for all those in favor for a
Aye.
vote. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposition, say nay.
She'll abstain. He's gonna hear.
Abstain, okay, so. Many of you here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Seven, vote passes. Subcommittee update, Bill?
Finance Subcommittee met earlier. To discuss some of the stuff that's coming up in action, so no action taken.
Okay. Then superintendent's enrollment report.
So our enrollment did shift a little bit. At Mary Fisher, we still have the same number of students, actually for 3 months, 382 students. And for the last 3 months, Thompson Middle School numbers remain stable at 260 students. We did have a withdrawal of 2 students at Turtle Rock Memorial High School, and that's basically because 2 students did move out of state. So that's 1 student moved out of state and 1 student moved to an alternate placement. So we end up with 208 students for a total of 851 students at the end of this school year. And we started off the year with 864.
Teacher retirement recognition.
So Chairman Herbert and members of the Board of Education, we have 3 longtime teachers that are retiring this year. We have Erica Grow, who is currently the social studies teacher at Thompson Middle School. Lena Canoia, who is currently the science district-wide elementary science teacher at Mary Fisher. And then Margaret Domina, who is the 7th grade ELA teacher. So they're here with us tonight to be recognized for their years of service in Thompson Public Schools. And not to put anyone on the spot, but I was hoping that maybe Lena, you could share a little bit about the years that you've been in Thompson and maybe some of the positions that you've held for members of the board that aren't aware.
Okay, so I started here in 2003, teaching 6th grade, and I spent 15 years in 6th grade at the middle school, taught science every year, and then the other subjects, it would alternate and vary from year to year, so I actually taught all subjects throughout my 6th grade career at one time or another. Then I moved down to the elementary, and I spent 4 years teaching 4th grade. And then my last 2 years I've spent teaching the science for pre-K right through grade 4. So that's pretty much sums it up. So 21 years in total.
And Erica?
Well, 25th year, I just want to say it's been such a blessing teaching children for 25 years. It was, I taught ELA for 24 years, social studies for 1, student council. And it's been really active, and I think that's really helped. Years to be active and show the children and the families how much we care. But I love Thompson, and Thompson family. I want to thank you for this, especially always been so supportive of the teachers. With it as well.
Mrs. Domina isn't here this evening, but she has been here since, when did she start here? She started
2014.
2014, yes, 2014. But she was advisor for National Junior Honor Society from 2006 to 2014. And then finally this year retiring. So she wrote a letter to the members of the Board of Education to give her an overview of her profile and her years here because she couldn't be here this evening. And Lena and Erica, if you could come up. And, you want it? It's fine. Flowers and flowers and flowers. All right, well, do you want me to hold your flowers too? All right, perfect. Okay, wait a minute, maybe turn the phone on. Okay. I'll get zooming on your shirt. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Thank Now we're gonna call upon Megan Natchigal again.
Well, first Cindy Willett, because I'm gonna give you a
Alright.
little backdrop.
Okay.
If everybody remembers pre-pandemic, we spent a lot of time developing the portrait of a graduate. And so today, the portrait of a graduate actually comes to life in what Cindy and Kelly Langer are going to share with you tonight. And then more importantly, Megan has put together, she's volunteered, to put together her presentation to get her graduation requirement done early. And she's going to do her presentation that she did in front of a panel of judges last week.
And we really appreciate your time tonight. We had a really special day last week with our first pilots, who they love to be called the pilots, including Megan and other students. Let's name them. So we had our capstone pilots last week do our first showcase.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll name them in a minute.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so it was an amazing day. So we'll get into that in just a second, but we're gonna try to keep this brief because we know it'll be a long night as it is. So just a quick overview of the capstone process. So Danielle, if you could just skip to slide 4. We'll just kind of quickly overview. So, right, the portrait of a graduate was developed. Prior to the portrait of a graduate, we had other school-wide expectations that students had to fulfill in order to graduate. So performance requirements, as the state had dictated, all schools must have a capstone performance. We're in the last year of phasing out our digital portfolio with the current seniors. So next year, all seniors will have to perform a gallery showcase of their POG skills and attributes. So this year, we really wanted to pilot with a group of the juniors that we had some models, some examples to use with our seniors next year. So all seniors will have to go through what Megan and her comrades went through this year. So the capstone experience, we have our capstone courses. All freshmen now come into Turlock High School and they have to take freshman seminar, which includes an overview of the capstone process, a monitoring of their community service hours, for example, because part of the capstone experience also, all of our students have to perform 10 hours of community service each year, which goes, of course, with our community connected pillar of the portrait of a graduate. Also, our other capstone courses include one with Miss Langer.
Principles of money management and consumer math.
And then finally, all seniors take the capstone 2 course, which helps to prepare them to do their gallery showcase presentation. And that's still in the development phase, but we had some pretty great outcomes this year. Students throughout the course of their 4 years of high school gather in a gallery, which is a Google Classroom. But they gather artifacts of the evidence of their POG skills and attributes. And so by the time they're a senior, they're able to put on this showcase that Megan is going to put on for you tonight. And finally, along with the community service, we also are included in the capstone experience is a job shadow. All students have to perform a job shadow, 6-hour job shadow. They are given their job shadow overview and paperwork in spring of their junior year and can perform it in that spring over the summer, or certainly will perform it by the time they're through their capstone 2 course and their showcase. So that is the capstone experience, all centered around the very wonderful portrait of a graduate that folks, many in this room, put together for us several years ago. And I just want to say, we visited Griswold High School. They have a vision of a graduate, and theirs is great. But ours. And I'm so grateful to Griswold because they really helped us get this off the ground and they gave us a great model to shape ours around. So very grateful for them. Our portrait of a graduate really seeks to develop the whole child. And so you'll see it in Megan's showcase and, you know, they just really, the Portrait of a Graduate really is so, it allows for our students to really grow and develop into the graduates we all really want to have in our community. So, yeah. Anything to add there, Chief?
Chief, I
Okay.
love it. No, the only thing that I would add is it's a very introspective experience for the students. I think I noticed that a lot of them were able to kind of dig deep into themselves and kind of realize who they are as a person, which isn't always the easiest thing for a teenager to do. I think the 6 individuals that we had in this particular class did like a world-class job. I know that some of the individuals in this room were there, and I know Cindy and I were, of course, very blown away by the results that we got from those students and the things that they were willing to share with us. So it was really quite the experience for us as well. Can we share who the 6 students are?
Yes.
Oh, we're allowed. Okay, so participating in it, we had Luke Senosk, Megan Nachigal, of course, Lindsay Sturdivant, Chris Holton, Aiden Bourget, and Jack Perry. Ooh, don't tell them I put them last. And all of them were very active participants. They certainly helped us to develop our program. We started a lot of the classes through Cindy's direction with oral exercises to get them used to speaking in front of crowds and honing their presentation skills. And I think all of them have, I don't think it's solely us, I think it has to do with the children, but they've definitely developed into fantastic presenters, and we're able to pull at the emotional heartstrings of at least us and everybody else in the room that day.
Yeah, last Thursday, we had our first showcase. Not a lot of dry eyes in the room. The students really did blow us away. I was speechless, for those of you that know me, that yes, a very rare occurrence. They just did a fantastic job. We want to thank our panelists, which included Kathleen, thank you so much. Heather as well, thank you very much. Kayleen, who's here tonight. Kathleen Claproot also. We really wanted to make sure that our staff, you know, the Portrait of a Graduate, our students are, you know, they develop these skills and attributes with their teachers K-12. It's not like it's just a high school piece, right? So we want to have a, you know, and going forward, we want to have staff from throughout the district serve on our panels. Our new principal, TJ Mellon, was there. He helped us as well, so we want to thank him. Val Iamartino came. She was one of the original developers of the POG. Rachel Johnston was there as well, and gave us some really great feedback that we're going to take forward and keep seeking some input from the committee. So thank you so much, and thank you, Danielle, for organizing lunch. It was a fantastic day. So without further ado, we are going to have Megan present her showcase. So Megan's showcase is an example of what, it's a great example of what we hope all of our seniors are going to be able to do next year in order to graduate from Memorial High School. So, Megan.
Yep. Oh, you got a click. Yes. Oh.
Good.
Good evening, everyone, and this, sorry. Good evening, everyone, and this is my Portrait of a Graduate Gallery showcase. I'm Megan Noctegal, and I wanted to start my showcase off with some photos of things that I think are important in my life. On the left side, I have photos of me and my friends. I hold them really close to my heart. They're one of my biggest support groups, but a bigger support group of mine is my family. My family is my best friend. I go to them for everything and anything. We have a loyalty to each other, and honestly, my best moments are spent with them. I felt it was right to start my showcase with a little bit about me. So things that I enjoy, obviously spending time with my family. I enjoy running. I think it's a de-stressor of mine. I like to run, you know, think about what's going on in my life, kind of de-stress, take it upon myself to take some time for myself. I also enjoy baking. I do it not that often, but when I do it, it makes me happy. I enjoy it. While I worship time that I spend with my family and my friends, I also worship time taking time for myself. I think it's really important to just sit by myself sometimes with my dog and just realize that I need to be by myself sometimes as much as I need to be with my friends. I also enjoy hiking and going on long drives. These go hand in hand with each other because me and my family like to go on really long drives to go for hikes on mountains and just see the pretty views. And it's a good time to kind of bond with each other, spend some time together. My strengths are communication. This is really big in all of my relationships I have. I communicate with everyone that my relationships that I'm in, and I hope that they do the same for me. I manage my time really well. I know what to put first, my priorities, and what to put maybe last. Empathy, I'm really empathetic. Sometimes it gets in the way. But I think it's really big for me and who I am. My adaptability, I'm really flexible with my time. I can change things around with whatever comes up and comes in my way. And I'm really dedicated. I'm dedicated to everything that I do. I make sure that I work really hard, especially with my education and my sports. My areas for improvement, I'm an overthinker, a really big one. I ask a lot of questions. I need to know everything and anything, and whether it's not important or not. I'm a perfectionist. I recognize that this could be a strength, but it's also one of my weaknesses. I need everything to be completely perfect all the time, and it gets in the way of a lot of things. I struggle to say no, especially with my teachers. If they ask me to do anything for them, I will say yes. Sometimes I take too much upon myself or I get stressed out. I get too much on my plate, and I need to realize that, sometimes I need to figure out what I want to do and what I need to do before just saying yes to everything. And I'm indecisive, especially when it comes to food orders. I don't know what to get. It's really hard for me. And then my values and things that make a difference in my life. My values are honesty and accountability. I'm really honest with everyone around me. I tell them how I feel, what I'm thinking, and I expect the same back towards me. I feel like I'm very kind and generous, and I hope the same for me too. Same with loyalty. I value my friends and my family, as you guys probably already know, I mentioned them a lot. And my spirituality. I hold spirituality really close to my heart. I put it as one of my top priorities. I make sure that every day when I come home, I have time to read my Bible, sit down, bond with God. Things that make a difference in my life, being humble. I recognize that you need to be confident in who you are, but you also need to realize that you need to be humble. Voicing your opinion is better than keeping it locked inside. You need to let people know what you're thinking when it's the right time. Make the most out of your life while you're here. Earlier this year, I got in a really bad car accident. It made me realize that my life's not guaranteed and that some things might happen and you might not be here the next day. You don't have to have it all figured out. There's some things in your life where you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to go on. You kind of just have to go with the flow, kind of let that happen. Surrounding myself with people that fill my cup and not empty it. Throughout my middle school and high school years, I had a friendship that was not someone that filled my cup. It led to manipulation and bullying, which is continuing to this day. And it's one of my struggles for me. And I realized that the friendships that I have now boost me up, make me feel better about myself, make me a better person as I do the same for them. And I use my faith in my everyday life to stay true to my values. As I mentioned before, my spirituality is really high in my values, and I make sure it surrounds my life in every single way. My greatest achievements, most improved for sophomore soccer. I played soccer my whole life, but I was the little girl that would pick dandelions on the field instead of actually looking at the ball and seeing where it goes. So I came in the freshman year not really knowing my left foot from my right foot. I didn't know what to do. I was the bench warmer. And then sophomore soccer happened. I came in and I put all my dedication into that. I realized that I needed to improve not only for myself, but for my team and the people around me. And I did just that. And I got most improved for sophomore soccer. And just recently I got it for junior soccer too. I got academic excellence in freshman math and academic excellence in freshman English. This was really big for me because I put all I have into math and English. They're my strong suits. And I was very happy to see that I got recognized for that. My involvement in my school. All throughout every year of high school so far, I've been involved in many clubs and activities. I like to put extracurriculars, they're really important to me. I like to be involved, show people how much I really do love my school and how much I really want to do support it. So I've been involved in SSA, FBLA, student council leadership team, I just recently became the Board of Ed liaison. This was really big point in my life because in freshman year coming in here, I would not be able to stand in front of you guys, talk to you guys at all, let alone give my whole portrait of a graduate speech. But I really grown as a person in that way. I was involved in yearbook, and then sophomore year, I was inducted into NHS. My sports, soccer, all 3 years, and then freshman and sophomore year, I was in indoor track and outdoor track. And this year, I joined golf. This was something different for me because me and my family used to go golfing all the time, but I was the type of person where I would do 1 or 2 holes and then be like, okay, I'm done. That's enough. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go get ice cream. Like, I don't want to do it. And then they'd have to finish the rest of the holes and I'd be on the golf cart. But I joined this year and I ended up making it to 5th man on the boys golf team, playing against guys that I had no clue who they were. And I had to shoot from the guys' tees, which is really big learning curve for me, but I did pretty well. And my greatest achievement was getting a 67 from the boys' tees. So these are the courses that I've had every year so far. As you can see, every year I've joined honors and AP classes. I've done the most that I can possibly do. My freshman year, I wanted to highlight some classes that were really important to me. I took principles of money management. I had no clue what to do with taxes or anything like that. Like, that was not something that I knew. But I took principles of money management with This Is 2Pi, and it really taught me like how to do adult things, which I did not know how to do prior. Public speaking, I would not be able to stand in front of you guys, the panelists, my class at all, to speak and tell them about myself, open up in the ways that I have already. If I did not take public speaking, I was the only freshman, one of the only freshmen in that class. I was taking it with a whole bunch of seniors, and that was really scary for me, walking in as a freshman the first week and seeing all the seniors and not knowing what to do. Sophomore year, I enrolled in AP US Gov. I am not a history person at all. If history involved romance at all, I would maybe be more into it, but I'm not. It's not one of my strong suits, but I decided to enroll in AP US Gov. I don't know why, but I ended up getting a really good grade in it, finishing with high honors with this course in it. And I put all I had into the class, knowing that it wasn't one of my strong suits, but I could prove to myself that I could do it, get hundreds and 90s on all my tests and quizzes and retake them if I didn't. I also was in recreational math for one of my intersessions. This is where you put math into the real world, kind of do problems with the real world, going outside, figuring stuff out, using your mathematical abilities. And it really helped me learn how you could use math outside of school. I was also in Tiger Pals my sophomore year. It was really eye-opening to me because my whole life I wanted to be a teacher. I was put into Miss Taft's class, and I had Miss Taft in my 3rd grade. And she was my favorite teacher by far. She really helped me learn the love for education, and I formed so many bonds with my students. My junior year, I took AP Lang. Taking AP courses are really challenging. And it was really hard for me to get into AP Lang, kind of write all my feelings, prepare myself for the AP Lang exam. But I just took it recently and I feel really confident in what I did. I also had internship, which is Tiger Pals again with Miss Taft. I wanted to continue that route with Miss Taft. And my class is honestly one of the best classes I've ever had. And then I also took QVCC, Intro to Human Services. This is my first college class that I took online, and it was really hard for me because I didn't know that something could be that hard. I had to work 6 to 8 hours every single week doing assignments for this class, and it was extremely challenging for me, but I liked the challenge. Throughout all 3 years so far, I've had a 4.0 GPA, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
My first artifact, my independent artifact, shows that I'm equipped with a strong work ethic. This is a website I created in my freshman honors physical science class, where we had to do a project about climate change, and the options were to create a poster, a slideshow, or go step out of your comfort zone. And I decided that this year I was going to step out of my comfort zone. Normally, I would just create a little slideshow, not really put that much effort into it, get it done as fast as I possibly can. But this time I wanted to see where I could take my abilities, take them further than maybe I would normally. And that's exactly what I did. I created a whole website on a website called Weebly, where I was able to be creative, come up with names like Bright and Early, and write little articles about climate change and how it affects the world. I ended up finishing with a 100, and I got it done a week prior than I needed it to be done. I was the only kid in that class that created a website, stepped out of my comfort zone, instead of creating a slideshow or a poster. It shows that I'm successful at time management because I completed it way prior to when it needed to be due. And it shows that I'm confident in my abilities. I know that I can step out of my comfort zone, get out of my box, and create something as beautiful as I did. My next artifact shows that I'm successful at time management and I'm aware of other languages and cultures. This is a project that I did that shows a Hispanic figure, Ellen Ochoa. She was the first Hispanic woman to go to space. It was a Spanish project for my sophomore year where we had to research a famous Hispanic figure and find out how they affected the world. Before this, I didn't really know anything about Spanish culture at all. And when I took this class, I was really able to be creative with it, kind of look through all of the Hispanic figures and realize what one I wanted to pick and what one I was more interested in. And I picked Ellen Ochoa. I'm not a good artist, but I tried my best here. And I ended up finishing it with a 100. My next independent artifact is the leadership conference we had this year. I was in a group that had to do with time management. I taught the group around me about how to manage your time properly while keeping your priorities above anything else, but also things that you need to do and make sure that you do them well and earlier than doing things like hanging out with your friends. This was really hard for me because, like I said, talking in front of crowds was something I wasn't really the best in, but doing this made me realize that I could do it confidently and kind of express to my crowd how to manage your time properly. It shows that I'm confident, I'm organized. I had multiple activities I had my audience do, and I had to make sure that they do them the right way. It shows I'm successful at time management, obviously, because I was putting on a showcase about time management. So I think you should probably be well at that. I shows I'm effective with communication. I could communicate with my crowd about what they had to do, how to do it. I'm proficient with interpersonal interactions. Throughout this, not only did I teach them about time management, but I formed a bond with each and every single person in the audience. I made sure they knew who I was while I knew who they were. And it shows I'm equipped with a strong work ethic. This was not mandatory. It's something that I chose to do with Ms. Soulette and the leadership team, and I really enjoyed doing it. My next artifact is knowledgeable. Shakespeare is an artist with his words, and this is what an essay I did about Macbeth and talking and kind of expressing throughout my essay the conflicts of Macbeth and how it was involved in his play that he wrote. It shows that I'm appreciative of the arts because I really had to analyze his words, the diction that he used, and how he included it in his story. It shows I'm academically accomplished. I finished this project with a 95. And my growth was that I had to complete multiple drafts throughout this. I was not good with grammar in my first one. I had no commas, no periods. I would skip over anything and everything. It was my first draft. I didn't know what I was doing. And then once I made more drafts, kind of fixed my problems, I really grew with my essay. I made it better and I made the changes that needed to be made to get myself the grade that I got in a Miss Williams class. My next artifact is knowledgeable. It shows I'm academically accomplished. As I told you prior that I have had a 4.0 GPA throughout my whole high school career. I make sure I keep my grades high. So this is just my dashboard of the grades this year, but my grades have looked like this every single year so far. I make sure I keep my grades high because it's a really big priority to me. It shows I like to prove to myself that I can do it, that I can get the grades that I have, kind of keep myself up there in the ranking because that's something that's really important to me. My next artifact for knowledgeable shows that I'm academically accomplished, skilled at critical thinking, and adept at problem solving. This year, as I mentioned, I took AP Lang. There was 3 sections for the writing portion: synthesis, rhetorical analysis, and argumentative. I love to argue, but in an essay, I'm not really good at it. It was something that was really hard for me. In my first essay that I wrote, I got a 77 on it. I thought I was good at arguing, but I guess I'm not. Especially about this topic, I realized that I needed to go home and do some work on it. I went home and I researched how to write a good argumentative essay for AP Lang exam. And I ended up I made my abilities better to get a 92 on the final one. There was 3 that we had to do, and my last grade was one of the best one that I got, which was a 92. I was really proud of myself for this, because I went home and I took the time out of my day to research how to make it better, how to improve my abilities in an argumentative essay, and I feel really confident in this section of my AP Lang exam that I just took. My next artifact for Community Connected is the bedtime stories that I participated in my sophomore and junior year. I did it my sophomore year, because I said prior that I'm interested in education. I wanted to go help the community and kind of see all the little kids' smiling faces when people are reading books to them, kind of open the door, walk them to where they needed to be. And then I realized that I was really interested in it, and it made me happy going there and helping them out. So I continued to do it my junior year. It shows that I'm service-oriented, anchored in the values of kindness, honesty, respect, and empathy. I really enjoyed doing this activity. It really connected me to my community. I was able to talk to everyone coming in the door. It made my day. I hope it made theirs too. My next artifact for Community Connected is my Board of Ed Liaison reports. As I mentioned, this is my first year being a Board of Ed Liaison. It's something out of my comfort zone, something maybe I wouldn't do my freshman year, especially not being able to talk in front of big crowds. But now I'm able to write a whole report with the help of Tara, Miss Willette, and Mr. Joyce, and to share about the pros and cons of the school in front of the whole board. It was scary my first time coming in here. I had no clue what to expect, but I feel like I really grew upon my abilities, because when I first came in here, I was stumbling over my words, had no clue what I was saying. I missed a couple dates while reading through this, and now I'm able to do it really well, I feel. It shows that I'm civic-minded, I'm ready to lead authentically, and I'm service-oriented. I did not have to do this, but I chose to do it. I felt like it was a big step out of my comfort zone, and it improved upon my abilities to speak in front of an audience. My next Community Connected artifact is my Tiger Pals artifact. This is my Tiger Pals class this year, and Miss Tapp take a photo of us. I really formed a bond with each and every one of these students. I go in there and I get hugs, and everyone screams, "Miss Megan, Miss Megan," while I help them throughout their work. Seeing their smiling faces when they finally comprehend a new subject is something that warms my heart. It makes me really happy to see, and I plan on continuing to take many Tiger Pals classes next year, because it's something that I'm really interested in. Every single one of these students makes my day, and I hope I make theirs. And it makes me so happy when I'm about to leave the class and every single one of them asks to use the bathroom so they can walk me to the door. It shows that I'm anchored in the value of kindness, honesty, respect, and empathy. And it shows that I'm ready to lead authentically. I can lead the class when Miss Tapp's not there, kind of tell them what to do, tell them that they need to keep their levels down, make sure they're not screaming like sometimes they normally do. And it shows that I'm service-oriented. My future plans, I plan to go to college. I've toured 4 colleges already, 3 of them being in Florida, which is really far away. I don't know if I can leave my mom and my dad for that long, but we'll see. And then one other one, Bridgewater State. And I plan to tour 2 more in the upcoming fall. I plan to go into early childhood education. In my 3rd grade year, I had a really amazing teacher, Miss Tapp. I formed a really good bond with her, and I continue to bond with her to this day. I remember my summer 2022, I think.
I'm sorry.
Summer 2022. I was an assistant teacher for Miss Taft throughout the summer school program, and I remember she would drive me home every day and buy me Dunkins. She's by far my favorite teacher, and I hope I continue to grow my bond with her. And it just shows that I want to be the teacher she was to me when I grew up. I want to say thank you to you guys for sitting here and listening to this. I also want to say thank you to my family for being there for me throughout my whole life and continuing to be there. Thank you to my best friend, Chloe. She's my support system. Thank you to God for always being there for me and being my protector. And thank you to Robbie, my boyfriend.
Good job.
Thank you, Megan. That was, even hearing it the second time, it was really good. Thank you very much.
And you've set the bar for the senior class.
Yeah.
I know, I've been jotting down notes. I'm like, "Well, am I
We did this in front of the whole school. too.
Ah, yeah.
To help bring up the, help the students make the connection between what they're putting in their galleries, and so they, all the capstone students presented to our school as well, so.
What an amazing
Couldn't have
job.
asked for better.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Thank you.
We had 3 scoring choices. One was a hard pass, one was a pass, or a strong pass, and a pass and a fail.
And a recent, yeah, recent.
And you definitely got a very strong pass.
Thank you.
It was unanimous, but
And then you can imagine the organizational structure that will be needed next year when every senior has to go before a panel of people, and how many volunteers we'll need to
yeah.
actually go through that process. So the planning for that, ladies, is going to be a lot. But thank you to Cindy and Kelly for teaching that capstone class.
Next up, we have our curriculum leader updates.
So you know that we have Lucy, Laura, and Patty, who have been leading the charge in ELA, math, and science. Patty and Laura full-time. And then Lucy has been doing it along with her full-time teaching duties.
Just wanted to come and provide a brief overview of what we've accomplished this year, and some goals moving forward. Oh, okay, yes.
She wants the clicker too.
Right, yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna give you a brief overview for English language arts, science, and mathematics. So all teachers, we implemented the SRSD Self-Regulated Strategy Development Grant in the elementary school mainly, but it really was all teachers in grade K through 6 that implemented this approach, which is really the writing process. And it helps helps our students become more confident and independent writers. That's really the overall goal of this program, this approach. And they receive training and support from both SRSD online and at the district level throughout the entire year. Of the 3 writing genres, narrative, opinion, and informative, we chose 2 to fully implement this year. We implemented opinion and informative in all grade levels. Through 6th grade, the district commitment, we had great teacher buy-in with this approach, and this ensured that the program was implemented effectively, which was demonstrated in their writing pieces and their abilities in the classroom. So we have found great success with this, which led us to signing back on with RSD and creating more of a sustainability plan for moving forward. So we are in the process of creating and have the basis of this more comprehensive sustainability plan for SRSD writing approach. I won't go into all the details, but the most notable features of this plan are the grade level pacing guides that align with our Wonders program and will ultimately be added to our curriculum documents. So for this, SRSD is not some fancy program. It's a very basic, simple writing approach that focuses on the writing process, teaching kids with examples, really how to understand and become more independent writers, and really supporting them and throughout the process and helping them understand like the features of writing at a very early age. And the program, this approach is scaffolded all the way through so that they're slowly developing their understanding and they're saying common vocabulary all the way through. And the way that we explain things and the types of writing are kind of supported all the way through, which is something we haven't had in Thompson for a very long time at this scale. And then we have a continued partnership with SRSD Online, which provides a lot of professional development and support for our district next year and into the future. And they have committed, I think, at least 10 years where all of the training that teachers need will be available to Thompson teachers. And this is a free program as part of this grant, so that's, incredible for our district. In the middle school, we implemented and revised the new curricula in the middle school. And again, the most notable change here was our 6th grade curriculum, which, through a lot of feedback from the state of Connecticut and what the teachers were seeing in the classroom, we decided that we needed to move away from the Wonders program and have a curriculum that was more engaging for the students, that was, more closely aligned to our secondary educational experience, where teachers would have like engaging novel units and lots of more choices and things like that. And so that is, at this point, that document is about 90% complete and will be ready for the 24-25 school year. We have really been diving into the interim assessments, especially in the middle school and in the elementary school. At this point, we've administered 12 interim assessments in grades 5 through 8 and English language arts, and 18 in total in the district just for ELA. Interims were the focus of professional development at the middle school all year. And our next steps are really embedding them and pasting them in the curriculum documents, which we've started to do. It's not moving now. Thanks, it's not playing. Here, it's not working at all. Oh, okay. Not me.
Oh, too far. Yeah,
Too far.
went too far.
Okay. At the high school, we really focused on kind of creating like an action plan of how we were going to move forward and reach our goals. The goal being to have all of our completed curriculum documents for all of our English language arts courses completed and on our district website. We did that our first few years in this job. We have that for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And now this year, our focus was kind of with the honors courses, developing those and having those complete. We have our UConn course on the website. This year, we'll have it posted to the district website probably by next week. We have the first draft of our grade 10 honors class, and we're developing the 9th and the AP Lang course so that it's completed and documented moving forward. We've also started writing alternative units to provide more flexibility and student choice. So we can see that in one of the 9th grade documents. The 9th grade English teacher wrote, a secondary Julius Caesar unit, not to replace one of the previous Shakespeare units, but just to provide more choices moving forward. So if we feel like it doesn't resonate, or he feels like, or the students feel like that's not the right choice for them, we have other units ready that also focus and follow the scope and sequence, and we know that, will provide them with the education that is expected here. And we are encouraging teachers in the English department especially to continue to kind of pitch and write those types of alternative units. So we have more of that moving forward, with the idea that our curriculum documents are living documents, dynamic, changeable, they're relevant. That they can be continually edited and updated. So that's it for English language arts, and I'll turn it over to Lucy Trudeau for science.
As was said, I do this in between. So, science is more confined as opposed to math and ELA, because they have lots of things that they go and they do this, and math is going to do this. So what I've been trying to do is combine some of the things that they're doing into our science curriculum. And so that's kind of where we're evolving to. So our elementary curriculum is going to be revised this summer, and it's going to tie into the SRSD topics that are being taught and used. And so that's our plan, because that's a wonderful thing. And so we're going to tie our elementary stuff into that. With Lena leaving, she's given me a lot of wonderful information, how I can change that. And so I'm going to work with Nicole Beck, and we're going to change some things. So it will be a natural progression. Middle school curriculums are being reviewed. Mine, the 8th grade one, will be revised over the summer. We have big dreams, and then we figure out, okay, well, now we have to be realistic about this. So some things are being taken out. We're going to change some things so we can do a better job of what we're doing. 5th and 6th grade are going to be revised next year. we're taking a deep dive into what's happening there and trying to fine tune some of the stuff that's being done there. And seventh grade will be done during the 25-26 school year, because she's having a baby, so, which is coming out. She's having a baby, so we're going to put that one on the back burner and we'll go back to that. So high school, we have 5 completely done and up, which is a major thing because they're doing 4 different courses at the same time. Over the summer, we're gonna have 2 additional that will be completed. So that will be a total of 7, and that will be the major ones there, and then we'll work on the electives going forward. All right, so our initiatives, this is kind of cool. We're gonna do a science fair next year. This is a big deal. We're gonna do 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade. East Bay Collaborative is where we get our FOSS kits, which is what we use elementary through 8, is going to give us some major PD on that. So we won't be going in blind. So this is kind of exciting. We're very excited about this. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Lab reports are being written kindergarten through 9th grade, which is a major accomplishment. You know, it's scaffolded, and so they're all doing the writing process. And they're all communicating scientific stuff, which is great. And that leads us to the science notebooks, because the science notebooks are being used very, very carefully. It's very regimented what's being put in there. So then they're using that information to write their lab reports. So the whole literacy is being used all the time now. So I think that's tremendous. And the scuba diving class is a hit. Scuba diving is a hit. And Laura mentioned interim assessments. FOSS has interim assessments ingrained into their testing. So we just use those tests, so we don't have to add anything extra. And I can honestly say, the more they're being used, the better the kids are doing. They do terrible in the beginning, because it's a whole new way of thinking, but I equate it to a math problem. And it's solving a word problem, and they're doing a great job with it. So our science is doing much better than it had in the past, especially since our kids are learning it earlier and they're using the right language. And so when they get to me, they actually know what a hypothesis is, which is wonderful. So, and I can say that with the help that they're getting in math now, my science is math-based, so I only can speak for mine. My kids are doing a lot better. So I'm very thankful that they're getting the help they need from that. So we're making progress too.
Thank
Be trusted in this. All right. So, high school, we have completed Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Consumer Math, Geometry Essentials, Honors Pre-Calculus, and they are all up on the district website. The standard pre-calc, and we're going to offer statistics next year, which we have not done in a long time. So those documents are going to be completed over the summer. Ms. Savansky is going to be working on those. For the high school business curriculums, we have been able to post Accounting 1 and Accounting 2. So that's something that is new this year. We didn't have those previously. My colleagues talked about interim assessments, and just so that you all, I don't know if you will understand what that term means or not, but our accountability measure at the end of the year is the Smarter Balanced Assessment Test. And the state has what they refer to as interim assessment blocks and focused assessment blocks, where they are free to use, and we get the data and we can then analyze that data to figure out how to guide our instruction. So we did some PD with a partnership with the State Department of Education. They came in January in the middle school, and they did a middle school staff PD in January. Prior to them coming in, all of our middle school staff administered a focused assessment block, and then they were taught how to retrieve, how to analyze, and how to dig into the data to guide their instruction going forward. Based on what we all learned in January, I then did a PD with the elementary math people in February where they had administered, and we have begun looking at that data as well. As a district, we did 19 math interim blocks this year, which is way more than we ever have. So I feel pretty confident that our kids got an opportunity. I know the third grade team was extremely appreciative of that professional development because it's the kids' first exposure with an online assessment. So not having NWEA and, as a benchmark assessment, the kids really didn't have the opportunity to do any kind of an online assessment. So getting those interims out and getting the terminology and the question formats and all the different tools that are used in that assessment was definitely worthwhile, especially for those youngins. In 24-25, the plan, I'm in the process now, but we'll be working with each of the grade level teams to look at all the interims that are available and then building them into the units that they make the most sense. So that we get that data and plan our instruction so that our kids have a better chance on the end of year assessment. And then my favorite topic of the year, the high dosage tutoring. So on the average, so we started in January. We had hoped to start full board January 8th, but due to some recruiting problems, with getting fully staffed, we really didn't get fully going until February. But on the average, we had about 159 students in grades 6 through 9 that were tutored 3 to 4 times per week in 30-minute sessions. Our provider was Catapult Learning. I worked very closely with them for, that whole second semester. And we'll be working with them again over the summer. We had 7 tutors here on a full-time basis. Because I have to do a report for the State Department of Education, I can tell you that through last week, we had 3,618.5 hours of tutoring time for our students in grades 6 through 9. So, Mrs. Trudeau, thank you for giving me the feedback. One of the things that I was able to do this year, and it was something that we built into the grant when we did it, was we did a weekly meeting for each of the classroom teachers with the tutors that were servicing their children. So we had a half-an-hour meeting each week where those tutors could communicate what they were doing in the sessions with the children, any issues that they might have been having so that we could fix those. And then more importantly, the teachers could communicate to the tutors what they were going to be doing the next week so the tutors could plan lessons to pre-teach materials. The majority of the feedback that I received from the classroom teachers was increased confidence in our kids, willingness to take a risk and actually volunteer and be part of group activities and problem-solving activities in the math classroom. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity that we've had. Our grant money is going to continue through December 31st. I'm trying to work it maybe to January 22nd. I am staying in the face of the State Department of Education. They did have some money left over. They did apply for a federal extension of that money. So I'm making myself very present on a regular basis. I may know how much I want more of that money. So I'll keep you posted on that as well.
And they appreciated the work you did because they sent her to California this year with a team of that.
Yeah, we were invited. I was invited to go to Stanford University for the Student Acceleration Conference, and the whole focus was on high dosage tutoring. After coming back, I was part of that group of 5 that did a presentation for the State Department on some of the takeaways from that conference. So it's been a great experience. For our next steps for next year, I already have a list of potential students for the 24-25 school year. I am working with the guidance counselors and the administration for the students that are 6 through 9. We're already talking about how we're going to schedule. We have some really creative ideas so that we don't have to pull any children from any other class. We're looking at in the middle school, scheduling it as a unified art class. So they would go every other day for a longer block of time. And in the high school, they're going to be having a flex type period, a 2B period. And we're looking at scheduling the 9th graders during that time so that we won't have any conflicts as far as that goes. I did learn a few things at the NSSA conference. I got to meet with some representatives from Arizona State University. And they have put together an online curriculum to train tutors, to train people to be tutors. One of my thoughts is maybe partnering with the high school, having Tiger Pals 2.0 and getting some of our students to be certified tutors and perhaps providing some tutoring services when the money dries out, so that we can continue providing this assistance to our kids. So that's a wrap, folks.
Yeah.
Question,
Yes.
just on the high dosage tutoring, 3,000 hours or so, did we see measurable difference in grades?
I can't answer whether or not we saw measurable changes in grades. And our accountability to the State Department under this grant is the Smarter Balanced Assessment.
Okay,
I have begun looking. I'm not going to share any specific data because I don't have it yet, but we are starting to see some of our scores come in, and I am seeing some nice changes.
great, thank you. Success is great, but if we can
Yes.
quantify it, that makes it a lot easier.
And the state is keenly interested in our SBAC scores, obviously, to see if all this money they invested is gonna make a difference. But I can tell you that these three women have worked really hard, many initiatives underway, the HDT, the SRSD program, the alignment of the scientific notebook and lab reports. I mean, this is heavy lift. And for the teachers out there who have come on the ride, kudos to those people who have rolled up their sleeve in countless meetings over the course of the year, before school, after school, during school, to start to move the needle and push us in the right direction. So ladies, thank you so much. And I apologize that we crammed a lot into this one meeting and we still have one more thing, but we've been super busy this year. And so everything culminates at the end, so. Can we move language-based reading up, Kathleen?
Okay. Do we need a motion for that?
Do you need a motion?
You need a motion to move it?
Oh, Kathleen,
Kathleen, have a motion.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
I'll second.
move it. F for E, E for F, sorry.
All right, we have a motion to move language-based reading up to D.
E. We're
Okay.
swapping E and F.
We're swapping E and F.
So if you recall, we've been very busy. Well, I haven't been busy, but the teachers certainly have been busy training teachers to become Orton Gillingham certified, but basically to implement reading strategies to help students with dyslexia. We recognize that in our district, we have more and more students that are presenting with that profile. And so we took a hard look at our structure at Marriott Fisher and have come up with a language-based classroom plan so that we are addressing those significant needs that we're seeing. And so these three ladies who went through OG training last year, who are now in a psych supervisory role, are here to present what we plan to implement next year. And the good news about it is that outside of professional training, there's no additional cost. We're using the staff that we currently have.
I'm Lindsay Clark. I'm a reading specialist that works in the elementary school. Caitlin Taps, I'm a third grade teacher. Jessie Duquette, I'm a special education teacher in third grade. So as Superintendent Smith said, we all completed our Orton Gillingham level 1 last year under Dr. Donna, who's overseeing this. And we're currently in the advanced level, moving to the therapeutic and the supervisory level. And really, we've been talking about, we saw in our practicum with our students, some really great growth. So how can we make this more sustainable and impact more children? So that leads us to the language-based classrooms, which we'll go through. We'll share with you, we'll go through the information that we can field any questions that you might have. And we have some pretty good results in here too already after only 2 years of this. So
Here's a mission for our language-based classroom.
Before you get started, can I just, the packet that you have in your
Oh.
handout is, not the current slides that we're using, so we can hand those out.
We'll
Right.
hand those out at
Yeah,
the end. So
So you
these,
have the updated information.
those slides that you would have reviewed or that are in your packet are in here, but then we added some, we have end of the year data that we were able to put in here that I thought was pretty compelling, or that we thought was pretty compelling. Okay, so Mary R. Fisher Elementary School's language-based classrooms mission is to provide an inclusive, targeted, and supportive environment for students who require specific and intensive remediation due to significant language-based reading disabilities. All students will receive core content and individualized reading services. Co-teachers in this fully inclusive model are specifically trained in structured literacy strategies that will enable all students to access core curricula with both emotional and academic success while ensuring individualized growth. So pretty big mission. And here are our core values. Importance placed on emotional health and self-esteem, culture of mutual respect and trust, classroom that builds responsibility and accountability, emphasis on student cooperation and collaboration, classroom community that provides for a safe and comfortable place where mistakes are welcome, risks are celebrated, perseverance is developed, and growth is the outcome. Environment that promotes and celebrates success for each student, building on individual strengths and creating new pathways for future achievements. Yeah, we're gonna get you into some information now about dyslexia, which is a word that is from the Greek layer of language. Dys, which literally translates to difficult, and lex meaning word, meaning difficulty with words. I am going to read, this is the definition of dyslexia that is the International Dyslexia Association uses, and the state of Connecticut has also adopted. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability that is neurobiological in origin. It is characterized by difficulties with accurate and or fluent word recognition, and by poor spelling and decoding abilities. Just gonna pause for a second. So yes, it might be a child who just struggles to read accurately, but also, and often under-identified is the child who reads accurately, but struggles to read fluently. These difficulties typically result from a deficit in the phonological component of language that is often unexpected in relation to other cognitive abilities and the provision of effective classroom instruction. So these children, a lot of times, like in the beginning of when I was teaching, this child's not trying hard enough, they're being lazy, they are so bright, they can share when we're doing read aloud, but they're not being lazy, they're working very, very hard. Secondary consequences may include problems in reading comprehension. If you struggle to read it, obviously that's taxing you in your comprehension, and reduced reading experience that can impede in the growth of vocabulary and background knowledge. Here's an infographic really breaking it down for you. So it's neurological, it's a neurological disorder. We're able to get a lot more information about dyslexia now because of advances in technology. So functional MRIs can really show us the structure of the brain is different. But when we intervene early, we can really restructure that because brains are more plastic the younger that we can get in and intervene. Inability to decode and recognize words. Difficulty with reading comprehension as a result of the decoding issue. Inability or difficulty spelling words, and difficulty with word retrieval and fluency. So sometimes even in language, kind of talking around a word, like that thing, you know, that you take the dog on the walk with, it goes around their neck. A leash. 1 in 5 people are dyslexic, 20% of the population. That's a huge amount of people who are dealing with that language-based disability. And also 80% of the population believe that dyslexia is associated with low intelligence, which is truly a sad myth. This is not true. dyslexia occurs in people of all intellectual levels. We talked about the structure of the brain. Runs in families. Parents with dyslexia are more likely to have children with dyslexia. It is lifelong and cannot be cured. The earlier we can intervene, the better the outcome, as the brain is more, has more plasticity when you're younger, and also less damaging emotional side effects of that too, from struggling. There's no single pattern of difficulty that affects people with dyslexia. Okay, negative effects of dyslexia. If you've ever worked with a child that struggles, have a child, you'll relate to this. Lack of motivation, low self-esteem, emotional distress, cognitive withdrawal, and social isolation. These are all very real things that happen. I like how you worded this.
But as you can see, the dyslexic child or the child with dyslexia has so many strengths and so many things to celebrate as well. So we want to make sure that those are recognized as well. So as you can see, they tend to be more of our creative. You'll see a lot of very famous people who write or act and
Scientists,
are
lawyers,
scientists,
CEOs.
who are incredibly successful.
Okay. In our model, the way that we're sharing this with you, proposing this to you, is we're proposing an inclusionary model, okay? Versus a sub-separate model. So think of a sub-separate, pull out, you're receiving your services in a different room. In some cases, most of your day is in a different room, okay? And this is research, Tom Harris research, which was done in Massachusetts. I'm going to share this quote with you. And the study for the state of Massachusetts revealed that students with disabilities who spend more time and have more not when it's not there, more instruction with their typically developing peers on average earn higher scores on the MCAS. That's their state testing, like ours is SBAC. Than similar students who spend much of their time in substantially separate classes. So their outcomes, students with disability, when in an inclusionary model, were having better outcomes. So in a sub-separate model, things that you can expect. Children are grouped by disability, segregated from non-disabled peers, fewer opportunities to be integrated with non-disabled peers, restricted, and this is a big one, restricted access to general education curriculum, and lack of typical peer models. What we're offering and why, our language-based classrooms will provide specialized individual attention in a full inclusionary model. We'll talk more about the program as we move forward. And the research indicates that integration is associated with better outcomes. Okay, so we're gonna get into a description of our program. Currently, we're looking at a language-based classroom in kindergarten, first, second, and third, and with plans of growing. Classroom makeup is 50% students with a language disability and 50% typical peer, not exceeding the 50%. Low teacher to student ratio, small group, whole group, and one-to-one instruction. Direct, explicit, multisensory, structured, sequential, diagnostic, and prescriptive approach to literacy for all classroom students. This is like the OG training, really. This is your training in this approach. And you are trained extensively hours, where we have to be watched 100 hours. So daily or in Gillingham tutorials for all students. Focus on morphology and etymology. We'll talk more about that to provide a deeper understanding of the English language, which is a catalyst for decoding. That's word reading, and coding, which is spelling and writing, and comprehension aspects of literacy for all classroom students. Inclusionary model with Orton Gillingham certified practitioners. Important here, the level of training of the staff. Reinforcement of strategies across all content areas, meaning, oh, sorry, it's okay, we'll go back to that. Okay. These teaching strategies those will be across all content areas, math, science.
One other thing
Social
is
studies.
the daily Orton Gillingham tutorials for all students mentioned right here. So that would be, you would see that with all students in the classroom, not just a 50% or, you know, certain students. It would apply to all students in that classroom.
Okay, and here's our placement criteria for the target seeds, okay? So we're, so when I say target seeds, I'm talking about the students that are already identified as having a specific learning disabilities, okay? So we have specific learning disability in reading dyslexia and or speech and language impairment with a deficit in language, average to superior cognitive abilities in at least one area. Listening comprehension is average or above average. If there's additional seats, okay, so we have not that many students for whatever reason that particular year that currently have IEPs, we'll look at students that we currently have in the response to intervention cycle to see if they can be considered for the language-based classroom placement. The reason we're so specific here is because if you're not meeting this criteria, you may require more support that may not be happening in this specific room. It's not that this wouldn't help anyone with a reading disability, but some children have more needs than just that.
And not everybody will have an IEP either.
Correct. Correct. Placement criteria for the typical peers. I'll go through this part quickly. We're looking for someone who's at grade level, at or above grade level in reading and in math, average to above average written communication. And then we're looking at some social skills and competencies, able to self-regulate, empathetic, strong verbal communication skills, able to work cooperatively and collaboratively, motivated, and strong time management skills. Classroom staffing, which really sets apart a language-based classroom in the model that we're putting forward. Go to the next one. Yep. Okay. Okay, so the classroom teacher is going to be Orton Gillingham certified. You have in most of the classrooms, remember that we're continuing to grow our staff that's trained in Orton Gillingham. The special educator will have, you can see the check marks are the grade levels that will have the special educator with the Orton Gillingham certification. The reading specialist has their Orton Gillingham, the speech and language pathologist. And then this is just showing staffing that there will be a professional additionally in the kindergarten classroom, not with Orton Gillingham, but we're thankful about that support. Okay. We're going to talk more about the programming that's going to go into this room. So our consultant will be Dr. Dunna. She has been very generous in what she has given in our school in terms of her time and her knowledge. And she'll be consulting with us. She's available all the time. Well, she answers the phone all the time. So monthly program consultation, data-driven prescriptive daily lessons, bi-weekly progress monitoring with adjusting as needed, collaborative monthly data meetings to analyze the SOAP notes. Those are just your notes that you take when you're doing your intervention groups or your small group, I should really say, because it's for all students in those rooms. Okay, keep going. Benchmark testing, we do that for all of our students. Coaching opportunities by content experts to ensure best practices, the integration of new research and program continuity. Program will be monitored by Dr. Dunna as our consultant and ongoing professional development. Common planning time, which we currently, well, the difference here in our common planning time is that all of the staff that's in that room, the reading specialist, the consultant, will be part of that. Teaching methods, this was what I was referring to earlier, I kind of went back and forth on multisensory, explicit, sequential and cumulative, diagnostic, prescriptive, and mastery-based, scaffolded, in a structured lesson format. Okay, I think this is also really important to know, to think about too. How will this help a student who does not have a language deficit? So if your child or family member isn't the target seat, how is this beneficial to them? And there's some really good points here. Education of children with dyslexia will be focused on how to achieve high levels of literacy rather than on the disability. And these practices in turn support reading achievement of all students. Focusing on the improving of curriculum that we're delivering will also benefit all of our learners. Teaching is tailored to each student, meeting them where they are and moving them forward. You have staff that has been trained in such a prescriptive model that's really what this saying is here, is wherever you are, we're moving you forward, okay? And a low student to teacher ratio, advanced concepts are continued to be taught. Focus on morphology and etymology. Explicit executive functioning strategies are embedded into daily instruction. Daily emphasis on soft skills. Thinking about what we just saw in, I'm going to say the word the capstone. Okay, I want to make sure. I mean, everything she was saying, I was thinking, okay, this is really supporting the outcomes that we want with a graduate. Adaptability, teamwork, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, time management, interpersonal skills. Can that come down? Was that from state testing? Thank you. Okay. Morphology is a field of linguistics focused on the study of forms, information of words, and language. Think of a letter, right, has a sound, but when we talk about morphemes, it's a small unit of meaning, okay? So stick with me, I'll give you an example. Words in a language consist of one or more elements of meaning. These smallest units of meanings are called morphemes. And our kids know this in first grade, second grade. How does it help? It allows students to understand word structure. Students who understand how words are formed by combining prefixes, suffixes, and roots tend to have larger vocabularies and better reading comprehension than those who don't. And now I think, assist in constructing meaning for unfamiliar words. Facilitates decoding and encoding of complex and multisyllabic words. Okay, this will help. This is a visual for you. So I want you to think about vocabulary, okay, traditional vocabulary where you might be given 8 words. They're not related to each other in their word form. Maybe they're related to each other in their content area. But if we can use morphemes and the layer in the small units of meaning, we can teach so many words, so many more words for these students that will help them anchor it in meaning. So think of, these are different morphemes, con, on, boy, here's some suffixes over here. And so by teaching words in this way for all learners, right, you can learn so many more words. This is just a simple sample for you to see and how they're all connected. This will be especially helpful for building word comprehension. Our kids know in 3rd grade, so Kayleen is a classroom teacher currently, so we've been able to experiment with some of this year. And they'll know, they'll break down words. Do you want to give that
Yeah, we had an
example?
example, sorry. An example during state testing where a student afterwards was telling me, I had this word that I didn't know what it meant, but I saw port in there. And then I knew from port, and then I could figure out, like, they were just talking through those examples. And so what an opportunity for our students. This is 3rd grade. This will work in 2nd grade where they're looking at suffixes. You know, a lot of us see an X at the end and, you know, it means more than one, but it also has a different meaning when we're talking about verbs, so parts of speech. So bringing this into the classroom for these students helps all of them. And it really moves them forward.
And
And we'll see that not just now, but as they move forward with state testing and SATs.
Right. Etymology is the origin of the word. Okay, so there's actually, you know, English isn't really, oh, that word, that's a tricky word. It has a weird spelling. It's actually more predictable than it is unpredictable if you know the origin of the word, which layer of language it's coming from. So in the example that you gave, all of the kids seem to love this. They enjoy it. It's a puzzle. It has some kind of connection to them. And for the kids with a disability, it's imperative, truly, to help get them where we want to get them. Okay, keep going on this. Etymology focuses on the understanding of the word root. And how does it help? Help students understand why a word is spelled in a particular way, which leads to better encoding and decoding. Assist students in retaining words in a more permanent way rather than memorization. They'll know, okay, this is why I'm getting the sound. Students become more proficient in identifying the meaning of words in various contexts. Move students beyond phonics and visual patterns. Provide students that many different linguistic influences over the centuries. They do like the history part of it, and then it gives them something. Think about if you've ever seen the spelling bee on ESPN. They'll say sometimes, what's the origin of the word? Because then now they know. Okay, so I'm hearing an I, but it's a Greek origin. They'll know which way to spell it. If we can start teaching them this early, I want you to think about content area in middle school and how this could be impactful for them. All right, we wanted to give you an example because we do this every day, but sometimes we forget. So think of film and photograph. Okay, they both start with the same sound. Well, why is it different? You don't have to just say, oh, I don't know, English is so crazy. You can actually give them the reason as to why. Well, this is from the Greek layer of language, and it's giving us the parts and break it down for them. And now photographer, they have photography, they have so many more words. Did you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right, this is the exciting part. Mr. Young, you're gonna like this since you like quantifying little things. Okay, so I have some data to share with you. All right. So here we have a student who received Orton Gillingham for 2 years, okay? The first year was one-on-one, and the second year was in small group. And just red is not where you want to be. Red is below, well below. Green is where you want to be, okay? Yellow is approaching, and blue is above. So you'll see all those colors. So I want you to look at this. This child was reading 14 words in a minute, and the goal was 73. Okay, and this is current data from spring 2024, exceeding goal. That is staggering. 61% accuracy to 98% accurate. At 61%, you're not getting any meaning out of that text. This is comprehension. All of these are times. This is our screener that we use. Was able to get one answer correct in 3 minutes, and now exceeding goal. And you're seeing that straight here through the composite, which is a combination of all those. That is really okay, yep. This is a student. I just have to. This student, this is okay, here she is. This is 1 year, actually. This should say spring 2023. And you can see similar, where she was significantly below goal, at goal, 1 point away. 1 point away. Okay, go ahead, please. Okay. This student here, this is after 1 year. Why I like this example, we're not seeing this in like a few cases. This is pretty consistent, but trying to get you home tonight instead of going through everyone. I like the student because it shows someone who's at goal in some areas, and look at this. At goal after the 1 year of Orton Gillingham, above goal. I'm just trying to show that it's beneficial to all students wherever they are. And then in the areas where he wasn't at goal, he met goal, and his overall composite was exceeding. This student, this is 1 year of Orton Gillingham. He is well below and still well below. The student has multiple disabilities, but what I want you to see is that, okay, so after 1 year, but the growth above average, well above average, above average, well above average. We have to be realistic. Dyslexia is a spectrum in how impacted you can be in. As long as we're getting gains like this, we know we're doing something right. Okay. Okay. Overall, I'm seeing so I see like all of the data in the elementary school, and I'm really seeing these are specific students that have had Orton Gillingham. This is just accuracy, which is important because if you're inaccurate, you're not able to comprehend. And you can see 0% accurate, no words read correctly, 76% accurate. I mean, still a struggle to get meaning, but we're getting somewhere. The needle's moving, right? And then you can see the green is that we're moving them to grade level and yellows we're approaching. We really need kids at 96%. I should give you an example on another night with what that looks like when it's not and how difficult it is to make meaning. But I do want to say, a positive, somewhat unintended, thing that has occurred is since there's so many people going through Orton Gillingham last year and this year, it's improving the teacher advice network. So teachers are saying, well, what are you doing? Well, we're using these decodables, and I'm noticing across the board that nice gains in accuracy. So, okay, and this, I'm hoping this will work because this puts the numbers for those of you who don't love numbers. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this video is probably worth 1,000,000. We have parent permission to share this video tonight. This was a student, Jessie, was this like fall of 3rd grade?
This is like kind of a little bit past the fall.
A
but
little,
A
okay.
little bit into our.
So listen, what I want you to do is just listen to what's involved, the effort in just reading. Hit it.
Hole? Was it in the hole?
Let's try that one again. So it's not a question anymore,
Was
so we're
it
saying, what's our
in-
first word?
What? It was in the hole.
It was in the hole. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jake was,
Read that one silently first, practice it.
This part is, look how long she's practicing this before she reads aloud.
You have to bear with me because it'll make the next video, so.
But it shows she's working so hard.
Jake was hit. I don't know what that word is.
You got it?
Hit.
We'll go to the next video because I think we've got the point here. And then you'll see.
Stone. And dig in the,
I don't know who's making it work right now, but thank you. I just have to say this next video, well, you'll see, and this was done on field day. So think about that with the additional distraction. She was okay doing it. I don't know why I came up like that scripted, but that's okay.
Okay, you're gonna start with the title.
A day at the playground. Jess and Misty went to the playground to play on the swings. They found bunches of flowers and picked them to bring home. When they were swinging, 5 boys came to also
Okay, we
swing.
can go on.
Jess blushed and gushed as they come up.
I think, you see, isn't that something?
Same school year?
No, that was the fall of grade 3 and the last one was Friday.
Okay.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're gonna leave you with, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn, because they can definitely all learn. All right, thank you for your time.
And there's a lot of work that's been happening behind the scenes by these 3 women and Larry and the team at the high school. I mean, Mary Fisher, I see Mrs. Rice out there, a newly graduated OG teacher. And a tremendous amount of effort over the past 2 years to get us where we feel comfortable that we can implement this program next year to help all students. So thank you, ladies, very much.
Okay.
I think this is amazing. I was just wondering though, you said that the staffing won't change. We don't have to hire any more teachers, right?
No.
So you said it's low ratio. So does that mean that some of the other classes are gonna be larger?
Nope, it doesn't mean that, but what it means is that, instead of pull out for the reading specialist is going in. And the way that we're trying to group kids to make it so that there's more of that push-in time, we also looked at our schedule so that we had some chunks where we could manipulate the staff we already had schedule.
We also looked at like the lower the grade. So for kindergarten and first grade, that reading person is pushing into the classroom for 90 minutes. So it's giving them an additional 30 minutes per day of that smaller ratio. And then in the second and third grade, that reading specialist will be just 1 hour with us, but that early intervention piece.
Yep,
is
and then
where
we've had some shifts in staff too that make that low ratio possible. That isn't including hiring anyone.
And so then are the teachers and like reading specialists and everybody just, are you picking the kids that you think like qualify or?
So,
Something about you have to fill out.
okay, so that would be, that's a pretty simple process for RTI, but really mostly we're starting with the students that have IEPs for the target seats. Like we're prioritizing there. So there is a process which has been
They've been working.
a lot. We've been
I
working
don't
through
know if
it.
parents know about it or if it's really kind of.
I didn't. hear
If their student is a target student, then the parent's aware because they've had,
Yes.
they've either had a PPT or they've had, an RTI meeting and that they've been in communication to know that their child has a deficit. Yep, and then this is how we're addressing that deficit.
And what we've traditionally done is had the inclusion classrooms. And so now we're just taking a look a little bit more closely at those IEPs and looking at breaking them down a little bit more so that we can specify those.
So then will you follow these kids through all the grades or is it possible for them? Because dyslexia, you said is forever, so will they forever like be in this?
Hopefully not, though it is forever. If intervened early, I mean, through elementary school, they're still young, but the goal is that if you have a child that has a disability, if they have an IEP, they need specialized instruction, right? The goal, if we do our job really well, is that they won't need the specialized instruction at a certain point in middle school, maybe. Maybe at that point, they would just need accommodations through a different plan. And then also, you know, there was a student in there, in the data I showed you, that the student's going into a language-based classroom because I'm not ready just yet to pull that support away because he was in a practicum. May not need that. Like one student, they're gonna get exited. Hopefully, I saw it with two.
And the hope is too that like the additional seats that we have, if it's not with a student with an IEP and somebody who's in the RTI process that we've been watching, that Lindsay's been watching, the hope is that we don't ever have to get to that process.
Because the gap is really difficult to remediate once those students get to the middle level. It just is. And so if we can catch them early on, and do the right thing by those students and really put them in an environment that, you know, it's not just a pull out for a 30-minute period one time. And the support is there throughout the curriculum. We're expecting that we're going to see good results. We're already seeing it with just the Orton Gillingham instruction that they've been getting. We've got 13 teachers trained. We have a whole host of teachers that are interested next year. And now that we're hiring special educators and reading specialists to replace some of the people that have either retired or moved on, that's a requirement of their hire, that they have to go through that training. So eventually, the goal is that everybody at Marriott Fisher would have that training. And then we don't have to have like specialized classrooms because that is part of gen ed instruction. And that's going to take a few years to get there, but I think, I don't know any school district that has 13 OG certified staff, right, Dr. Jones? I mean, that's almost unheard of.
I just make a comment. I'm so encouraged to see this. I'm a parent of a dyslexic boy, and he was so dyslexic that we brought him to Yale, New Haven. He was too dyslexic for their dyslexic study. And it's so important to do this early. And across all content area, and everything you said was so true. The emotional well-being, and it's not just the child, it's the family too, right?
Absolutely.
Because when he's suffering, we were suffering. It was just so difficult for that poor kid. And he's 27 now, he's an EMT, so you have to learn how to learn. And he's such a bright kid and he's so smart, and we're very proud of him, but this is gonna help so many kids, so many kids.
Yes.
Thank you. We left the updated handout.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't know if you want to table the CEP discussion. But Lisa is here.
Lisa's here, so I still do it. Okay, we'll move to the CEP discussion. Lisa?
So Lisa, the subcommittee did talk about CEP, but the full board isn't aware of the conversations that we've been having with Steglitz, you and myself. CEP is a grant program that we actually qualify for. And Lisa will give you the details on the background, but in a nutshell, it's to make a decision of whether or not to offer free lunch to our middle and our high school students. We already have that at the elementary for another year.
This is their last year, so as of next year, they'll all be regular pay, free reduced to regular pay.
Okay, so you want to just talk a little bit about it and then what your opinion is? I don't think we're going to make a decision. The board isn't going to make a decision tonight.
No, did you share the last sheet again?
Yep.
All right, so CEP is, stands for Community Eligibility Provision, and the overview is CEP is a national school lunch program and school breakfast program meal service option that allows schools and school districts located in high poverty areas to offer breakfast and lunch at no cost to all enrolled students. Rather than collecting school meal applications to make individual student eligibility determinations, schools that adopt CEP are reimbursed using a formula based on the percentage of students who automatically qualify for free meals based on their household participation in specific means tested programs or their status as a foster, homeless migrant. So if they're directly certified through the state of Connecticut, if they're legit receiving SNAP or temporary assistance for needy families, et cetera, they can be included in this number. It doesn't have anything to do with household applications that they send in, the paper applications. Benefits increases access to nutritious school meals at no cost to students, increases student participation, improves the learning environment, eliminates social stigma. Households eliminates paperwork, no need to submit applications for students to receive free or reduced price school meals, no meal charges. Schools eases administrative burden and improves program efficiency, eliminates unpaid meal balances. The eligibility is directly certified students, 25% or more. If we have that percentage, we all qualify. So all three schools qualify. But elementary qualifies at 37.17%, but we have a multiplier 1.6, which brings them up to 59.47. So 59.47 of the meals received of the day, we would get the free reimbursement rate. The rest of the meals for that day would be the paid rate. And for the lunch program, the free rate this year is $4.27 per meal. Oh, $4.25. And the paid rate is only 40 cents. So we literally have to make sure I can cover the paid meals with the free reimbursement, which is not impossible, but we're not getting a lot of the funding that we've been getting for the past 4 years, grant funding because of COVID related things and like high food costs and things like that. So it would be a gamble, honestly. I can't guarantee it would work. I would guarantee you that I would put 110% into trying to make it work. But this year we did, we had a big chunk of insurance also included that came out of our budget, which we seem to absorb okay. I just don't know if we could do this also next year. It's too new, too fresh.
Well, so the last meeting you and I had,
Yeah, I know.
you were more optimistic about trying it, but then
Yeah.
found out that there might be some grant funding that we're not going
Right.
to be able to tap into for next year. So as the summer months, weeks go on, least we know more information as it stands right now. So Marriott Fisher cannot be free next year either.
We'd have to decide if we want them to be free. They're in their 4th year.
I thought
So,
it was a 5-year.
well, they're in their 5th year. They're in their last year.
They're in their last
They're in their last year.
So it was a conversation because a week ago, we thought we would be getting that additional grant money.
Right. We
And
weren't
now at this moment in time, it doesn't look like we are.
No.
And food service is just running. You're just breaking even at this point right now. So as much
So I
as
hate
I'd
to-
like to recommend to the board and the subcommittee of the finance, I feel like it's too premature to even vote on that. I mean, it would be the ultimate goal to provide free unless some other monies come along the way.
Right. So we still have free reduce, so we'll still have paper applications directly sorted by kids. We'll still get. Next year, I didn't get the official document from CSE yet, but they're saying that reduced price kids will be free breakfast and lunch next year also. So the free kids will be free and the reduced price kids will get free breakfast and lunch also, but the paid kids for elementary, middle and high will have to pay regular pay.
And we currently have how much of an unpaid lunch debt?
$3,125.30. That's middle and high school.
What percentage of our students overall and or just elementary are free and or reduced?
Well,
Ballpark is fine.
for elementary, these are the numbers from April 1st. We can only use numbers from April 1st. So elementary was at directly certified free through this is 37.17%. I could not use the paper application kit, so that would be higher percentage. Probably I'd say 42, 43, 44%.
Yep.
And the same with the schools, middle schools 30.77 here, but they're probably
35.
mid-30s. Same with high
Our
school.
numbers were
Thank you.
teetering around 44, 46% poverty rate.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what did you say that they would have to pay if, like, say they don't qualify for free or reduced lunch? What would be the amount?
Well, we'll go back to what we charged them before, would probably be like $2 for breakfast. And our lunches right now are $3.25.
So they don't qualify for free breakfast anymore either.
Only if they're free and reduced paid. They'll get free breakfast and lunch next year, just next year. I don't know what they'll do moving forward. So,
I think the board needs to monitor the funding situation that may come or may not come
yeah,
in the current budget and figure out if that's something they wanna work
well,
on.
another thing with this is it's a 4-year cycle, so every April 1st, I have to get these numbers for the state. And those are the only percentages I can use, but we could cancel after a year, cancel up to 2 years. Each year you can redo your numbers. If your percentage goes up, you can resubmit with that higher percentage. If it goes down, you're locked in with that original percentage.
So we put in a letter of intent.
Right.
Because it wasn't gonna cost us anything and we weren't bound by it.
Right.
When do we have to let the state know?
June 30th is the application deadline. June 30th.
We have to let them know by June 30th?
Yes.
If we're gonna,
We have to apply by June 30th.
okay.
So I've got all my documentation already, so if you made a decision to do it, we'd be good to go.
So in your opinion, at this time, it would not,
I would say no, not and make it. Not have our program be very negative
So the reimbursement is 40 cents for each
for a
meal?
paid meal.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's what the.
So when they pay.
Yeah.
It's that plus the 40 cents that helps pay for the meal.
so she uses that money to pay for the others, right?
Well, we started, before COVID hit, we started offering the free breakfast on our own. And it worked. Breakfast was easy because the reimbursement for breakfast, like, kept the cost so low that it would cover the cost of the other kids that would pay full price. Or that would have paid full price, so I could afford to pay the 2 of them. But now it's just, it's big. It's big and it's daunting, you know?
the breakfast pot bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could decide to do one school if you want to do one school, if you want to continue with elementary being CP, you could do just the one school. You could offer, we could probably do free breakfast for all the paid kids in middle and high school, elementary, middle and high. Or middle and high if you chose to do CP for just elementary. That would be easier. But that's up for discussion, right, Bill? A little heady today.
I don't think we have any firm numbers at this point. No.
The missing, if we got some more information on that. On the grant
Oh, the
funding,
grant money, yeah,
um,
I check every.
that would significantly change the thinking.
That's a big loss,
Cause it was a lot, it was 77,000, right?
Yeah.
Lisa?
yeah. Yeah. So,
Lisa works a lot of magic, but 77,000 is a lot.
I think if something, I don't know, if something changes, we could certainly let the board know. And then we can make a decision as to whether or not, we should
I
move
mean, if
forward
you
with
decide not to do it, you can always revisit it again in April, if our numbers go up. We might have some more grant funds coming in, I don't know. I can't tell.
So this would just make it like pre-COVID, everybody
Yeah.
pays, you
Right.
do your form, if you do,
Yeah.
that comes in their package, okay.
We also got a lot of money. I think we got almost 90,000 for people paying this year. Also, so there's some big money.
Are we expecting that the lunch debt, that the debt would go up? Like right now, it's what, 3,000, you said?
3,125.
Right, so, I mean, if we were to make it all paid, right, and programs go away, where that number we would expect to spike,
Yes.
correct?
We used to average between Bill and Kathleen, 6,000 and 7,000 a year in unpaid debt.
And that was before food inflation, so
Correct.
12,000. Right. These days.
And elementary's been free this year, so that doesn't include their negative balance if they were to become.
Do we think more communication to parents about maybe linking their debt, like my accounts linked up to a credit card, so I see it go through, or it's, our balance is replenished or whatnot, but. Is there a way to maybe get more of the information out to parents to like
I
link up
email
cards and
At
stuff?
least once weekly, I do
Yeah.
phone calls, I send letters home monthly.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, I've reached out to some households who are very negative, and I've reached out to them. And they're, okay, I'll send it right in. Then I talk to them again a few weeks later and I don't.
And you can't do card on file, cause I feel like that's the world right now, everything's card on file.
The subcommittee has asked us to do a better job of communicating and giving parents a variety of options on how to fill out their free and reduced lunch form, so that we get one from every student.
Yeah, there's a video on our website that we get from the state that I had Danette put up a few years ago.
Yeah, I think it's more communication around that, that we need to do and start earlier in the summer.
Yeah, I could help anybody with that, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
No. Now we're doing the administrative reports. Let's start with Ms. Bernardo. The high school and the middle school, please.
All right, well, I just want to thank the faculty and staff at both the middle school and the high school for all their dedication all year. As you can see by many of the presentations here tonight, we've definitely made some major progress in our district. And it's, all hands on deck and everybody displayed their heart out, and we can really see the effort, especially the SRSD writing grant. It's amazing what I can see when I travel through the classrooms and see the writing getting better, which is amazing. Also a highlight to our grade 5. They received from the Audubon Society 2 new water filling stations. So that was exciting news this week. Wonderful to see all the middle schoolers out and high school is as well for their spring sports award. It was great to see a lot of students trying out for things that they'd never done before. We had a great turnout, which was awesome to see. Thank you to the PTO for all of your fundraising this year. All the grades were able to go on a class trip, which was great to see. We have our last one going out tomorrow. Thank you, Superintendent Smith, for allowing us to go on that last one. Beautiful day tomorrow, I might add, so. Also, it was exciting to see all of our grade 7 students able to participate in a culinary activity. They actually made their lunch down with Chef. So thank you to Chef and also Mrs. Wukowski for making that happen. And of course, congrats to Lena, Erica, and Margaret for all their years of service. I wish you guys the best. And thank you to all my fellow administrative staff for all the support that they have given all year. And thank you to the board for allowing me to be blessed to serve the community. Great night.
Thank you. Mr. Prentice?
Okay, let me start by saying once again, congrats to George Jewell and Guy Daigle. Well deserved honor. Worked with those individuals for 25 years. Salt of the earth people, great people. Congratulations, of course. Kayleen, Jesse, Lindsay, wonderful presentation. Lisa was one of the 13 people as well that have been OG certified. I gotta tell you, so very proud of all the work that they do, right? You talk about two of the main cornerstones of education, rapport with kids and content knowledge. It doesn't get any better. If you come inside the classrooms, cream of the crop. It just makes my job that much easier. Really proud to be a part of it. Field day was postponed on Thursday, but took place on Friday. If you haven't seen the PTO inflatable race.
Oh, I saw it.
Kudos to Ashland Ellsworth, the blue dinosaur that won.
Oh, I didn't know who it was.
Interviews for several positions have taken place. Thank you to the committees that took their time. June 13th at 1 o'clock is the 4th grade moving up. June 13th is the kindergarten graduation. So you would probably be hard pressed to see anything cuter than a 5-year-old in a cap and gown. So, 10 o'clock, I think, on Thursday morning. Of course, you're all welcome. OG ceremony, of course, they talked about this. We had one last week. 4 people graduated. We have 13 on board now. I will tell you, to Bill Witkowski's point, there's nothing greater than hearing a parent discuss their child's progress. It's just a real passionate, loving thing. I was pleased to be able to call 8 different parents, talk to them about their progress with the students, with the teachers, and they're just so thrilled about what the teachers are doing. So thank you once again. And then finally, Juliana George, I mean, getting a lot of kudos, but the spring concert was a fantastic success. And so very proud of everybody that was part of that. And to jump on board with Kim Granado, I think I said this in the beginning of the year, just so much work goes in every single day behind the scenes, whether it's security, food services, custodial, maintenance, Bill Stegler's doing a great job in his department. Like everybody works so hard in this school system, so many really talented people. So happy to be a part of it. And okay, that's the elementary school.
Thank you, Larry. Dr. Jones?
Yes. Currently, in special education, we have 190 students. 504s are at 74. Total outplacement is 25. In Bradley School, Windham County, we have 21. Of the 21, 6 are Thompson students. Our total percent has dropped from 23.98 last month to 22.32%. We're still utilizing 5 vehicles. We've been consistent with that all year. And we're still partnering with 7 off-site placements. That's been consistent throughout the year as well. The referrals, I touched upon this before in the past. Last year, we had 34 referrals come through, and of the 34, 31 had qualified for services, so that was a rate of 91%. This year, we've had 66 referrals, and 35 have qualified. So the percent dropped to 58%. That's largely in part due to RTI. So I'd like to give kudos to Larry and the elementary team down there for all of their hard work with RTI, because clearly that is working. So thank you very much for that. And then just lastly, in terms of ESY, we have 42 students that have been recommended for that service. And again, that runs from July 1st through August 1st.
Thank you. Chris. Mr. Steglitz.
Keep an eye on Chris when I give this report. Revised budget is still at 20.6 million. Year-to-date spending 17.2 million, 83.4% of budget. Still below where we were at this time last year. Year-to-date encumbrances 3.3 million, 15.8% of budget. Bringing our projected spending to 20.4 billion or 99.1%. At this time last year, we were at 99.6. Those amounts are after our full special ed excess cost reimbursement of 146,000. We received the final payment this month. Currently, we have one department in a deficit position as pupil services. However, that position has improved from last month despite a couple of headwinds. You guys have heard about the paraprofessionals and the RBT related spending for the last several months. But there was also one other additional negative, if you will. This time around, we discovered that the ELL teacher position had been mistakenly charged to the elementary school all year long. So that position, not only was it charged to elementary school incorrectly, but you also keep in mind that we moved that position, or the district moved that position from part-time to full-time during the year. So pupil services absorbed that full hit on that position. Net of the final special ed excess cost payment and some diligent work by April Levesque to go through our POs, which is just a joyous event at the end of every year for all the departments. But April was ahead of the curve this year, and she actually dug up about $75,000 worth, which really helped a lot. So thank you, April. I know that's not a fun job, and you always turn it around very quickly. All right, good. So good. The last item is the cafeteria report. If I didn't get you a revised page, please let me know, because Lisa came up today and gave me the business a little earlier and I had to make an adjustment. But once we're all done looking at this, we're on track to be right about break even. And keep in mind, this is our first year of charging a decent portion of the cafeteria health benefits to the account. So far they've absorbed about $64,000 of health benefits, where in past years they haven't. For a full year, that'll be $70,000. So hopefully we're on track to break even at the cafeteria.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Mr. Birch.
So there's a lot going on this week. Obviously, there's graduations and celebrations and all kinds of things every day, so that keeps the guys busy. There's also a lot going on in the district. The track project is coming along very nicely. They're making great progress up there. 1 week from today, Monday morning, the 17th, we are scheduled to start the entrance project. That crew will be on site first thing Monday morning to start that work. The new playground is due to start installation around mid-August. So that's going to be coming up. We also have a new walk-in cooler that Lisa Durant got a grant for that's going to be coming on site. We start that on July 1st. And there is a whole lot going on behind the scenes with the HVAC project that nobody will really see for another year, but there's a lot of work going on to do that.
And don't forget all the welding stuff here, knee deep in.
And the welding stuff. We have more welding stuff.
Thank you, Bill. Ms. Burns.
So we're still going strong. We had about 177 tickets last month. Still keeping really busy, getting ready to collect 8th grade and 12th grade Chromebooks and laptops. Because the budget passed, the good news is I will be able to keep up with my replacement cycle of new Chromebooks, hopefully replacing 2 grades over the summer. Summer is our really busy time as well. And then we'll take those older devices and cycle them down to the elementary students. A lot of projects this summer, we're replacing some of the copiers throughout the district, larger ones, so teachers will be excited for that.
You say that now.
Down the hill.
Working on a new webpage dedicated to artificial intelligence resources and information for students and teachers to assist with that. That's new and up and coming. Yeah, I don't know, just a bunch of stuff, but that's good for now.
Thank you, Heather. Ms. Giamarnaro.
Hello, everyone. We currently have 4 open positions. 3 of them are currently located in Thompson Middle School. 1 is located in Marriott Fisher. That is a special education kindergarten teacher. We have 4 positions currently in second interview. And Linda and Chris are meeting with those candidates next week and the week after. We have 4 para openings, 2 kindergarten pairs, 1 one-on-one para in Marriott Fisher for next year, as well as a classroom para for the middle school life skills room. I'm working through different avenues of outreach for job boards, CT REAP, School Spring Handshake, the CEA website, the Connecticut Special Education Employment System. We're working print ads, and I'm currently looking at public Facebook pages around schools in Connecticut, Massachusetts that we know have laid off. So that we can put our ad on those Facebook pages as well, so we can draw some additional candidates our way. And the only other thing I can really talk about today is I have 5 exit interviews scheduled for Wednesday.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Ms. Brown? Anything?
Just wrapping up the year, all the vision and hearing screenings were finished. Have a report due to the state by June 30th. And graduation's Friday.
And last but not least, Ms. Benelli.
Our last athlete today, Bill Noonan was, we have Athlon. She did not qualify to go to day 2. Today was day 1. So she's our last person that's been competing this spring. And our registrations for fall has been open, and physicals for those that needed, that said they needed them, have been completed. So we'll get ready to open for fall.
Anybody have any old business? We do have some action items, some of their new business. During our finance subcommittee meeting, we discussed the non-union employee salary increase. Bill, you want to make a motion for that?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to the rest of the board that we increase non-certified salary by 2.3%.
I'll second.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that issue? Hearing none, I'll put the motion to the floor for a vote. That is to increase the non-union employee salaries by 2.3%. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Any Abstention? The motion passes unanimously. Budget transfers.
I like those items.
I was surprised to see that one there too.
Table that because we didn't have any discussion on that one, okay. teacher rescissions?
Rescissions. So we had two teachers that we had put prior to the budget on layoff. And I need your approval to call them back to work.
Motion to approve the two rescissions from pre-budget.
Second.
We all second that.
Any, okay, no discussion, any discussion? Right, okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll put the motion to the floor for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say nay. Open passes. And then the correspondence is in your packet. We had a thank you card from the culinary arts.
Was that from the senior lunch?
Yes, so we had a
cute.
senior lunch prior sometime early May. And you know, so we had so many seats. I had 40 tickets. I went down to the library where they all eat and passed out the tickets. And we did have a good group of people come. They enjoyed it immensely, and the several residents wrote us a thank you note. So that's what you have in your packet. Next year, we'll try to figure out a way to make it a little bit more equitable, because some people's feelings were hurt that they didn't know that this was happening. So we'll have to do a better job on first come, first serve for those tickets. But we plan on doing a veterans, a dinner, something in December, and then something again early May.
Great, that's nice. Okay, again, any citizens' comments? Any citizens' comments from the Zoom audience? Hearing none, I will.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.